All right, yeah, this is doing the rounds. Tommy Robinson has fled the UK by all accounts. Well, I did hear ages ago, well, not ages ago, but a month ago maybe. I don't know whether it was Trump. I don't think it was Trump. I think it was the other one, Vance. But he said he'd offer Tommy Robinson asylum for how much he's being persecuted in the UK for, well, for being Tommy Robinson. But yeah, this is doing the rounds. This first one is what came out yesterday. The next one is a witness saying what happened. Now, as you can see, there's Tommy Robinson. And if anyone don't know Tommy Robinson, he's the guy who has been trying to expose the grooming gangs for years, basically, and has been arrested for it and all sorts. But yeah, and then you can see this guy's knocked out, unconscious, on the floor. This is the last footage, and then the next thing, he leaves the country, apparently. But yeah, let's go.
Tommy Robinson has fled Britain hours after he was filmed next to an unconscious man at a London train station.
Here's the thing as well, what you've got to understand with Tommy Robinson is he's been fighting. I don't mean actual physically fighting. This fight against Muslim grooming gangs in the UK for a very, very long time. Also, he's not a politician. If you go up to him, there is every chance he might just knock you out. Like, I mean, he's British. It's kind of comes with the territory, really. But yeah, anyway.
Cops have launched a hunt to find EDL founder, hours after footage showed him shouting, "You saw him, he came at me," as a man laid unresponsive and bleeding on the floor at St Pancras station in London. In a statement,
I have a problem with them saying he was the EDL founder, 100%. But he also has distanced himself from that because the EDL picked up what it kind of does with that type of organization, a very, very toxic section. And Tommy Robinson was being asked to defend the actions of people that are claiming EDL, and it's nothing to do with him. It's not like so he's distanced himself, but he was the founder. But also, what the EDL has become now isn't necessarily the vision that Tommy Robinson had for that organization. I have to give him that credit. He is the founder of it without a shadow of a doubt, and it has morphed into something maybe not the healthiest, let's say.
British Transport Police said that a 42-year-old man had boarded the plane out the country in the early hours today. Last night, footage showed Robinson walking down the steps towards the platform, while another man can be heard saying, "Quick, quick, can we get someone here quick?" to staff. Another bystander shouts, "Tommy, Tommy," in the background. Robinson then comes back up the stairs and appears to tell the man, "He came at me, bruv. You saw that. He came at me," before the clip ends. Earlier in the day, the EDL founder, whose real name is Stephen Yaxley Lennon, filmed himself at the station where he was handing out flyers for an upcoming protest. Cops explained that a man was taken to hospital with serious injuries, with an investigation continued overnight. British Transport Police told The Sun this morning officers were called to St Pancras station just after 8:40 p.m. on Monday following reports of an assault. Officers attended and a man was taken to hospital with serious injuries, which are not thought to be life-threatening. Overnight, the investigation has been ongoing and officers have been making arrest inquiries. Photos show forensic officers later at the scene, taking DNA samples from the handrail down to the platform, with bloodstains visible just above the stairs.
They did have that looking like a murder scene right there. Someone got knocked out. I don't think I've ever seen that kind of response to someone getting knocked out in the UK ever. Forensics doing what a waste of police time. Really, you got forensics out over someone who got knocked out. Happens every day in the UK. Somewhere, never seen a forensics team out for Barry down the road who got knocked out last week. But anyway, that being said, this is why it's like this is why politicians don't want to be associated with Tommy Robinson, because of things like this. In a political, I don't agree with it, but in a political world, you can't be doing things like this and head any type of movement that a politician can stand behind, because it's, you know what politicians is like. Like, I see people that, a lot of Nigel Farage's fans or supporters, whatever, are upset that he won't acknowledge Tommy Robinson. But again, Nigel Farage is doing something very, very different. He's actually trying to get into a political position of power. Tommy Robinson is, to be honest, a kind of activist, really. Yeah, it's not kind of, and the fact that he is the type of person that just might knock someone out, like that type of person is not something that political people are going to want to, yeah, be around, basically. Not that I've got any problem with anybody I mentioned, but yeah. Now this one is a witness of what actually happened. So let's have a butcher's.
A shocked witness has revealed what they saw Tommy Robinson.
That's how much it happens in the UK. These are obviously, wherever he is, these are medical people, and they just stroll. It wasn't like Mayday, 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 someone's been knocked out. It happens all the time. So I find it weird that they was doing forensics all the way down the balcony and had a tent out there like it's a serial killer's house, and they're pulling body parts out the wall. You saw how casually them two walked up to that. Again, not justifying it, but it is very common practice in the UK that someone might get knocked out.
Do just moments before he was filmed standing over an unconscious man at a train station. They claim to have seen Robinson, whose real name is Stephen Yaxley Lennon, engaging in an argument with an older man at St Pancras Station in London before punching him so hard it knocked him out. The EDL co-founder was filmed standing over an unresponsive man lying face down on the station concourse on Monday night.
He wasn't standing over him either. To say someone's standing over him, you think it's kind of like he's leaning over. I fucking told you. He wasn't. He was like walking around. He's standing near. He's walking around near an unconscious man, but he's not necessarily standing over. Standing over is puts a specific image in your head that is not actually happening.
Right activist is also feared to have fled the country amid an investigation into an alleged assault of a man at the station. British Transport Police said in a statement on Tuesday that a 42-year-old man, who was a suspect in their investigation, had boarded a plane out of the country in the early hours of Tuesday. The witness.
Well, then, if he's at an airport, I don't necessarily look like he fled the country either. It looks like he was going on holiday. Someone see him. This happened, and he boarded the plane. Although that's pretty crazy if that is what happened, because I don't know anyone who could just knock someone out in an airport and board the plane like it's okay. That's crazy. Unless you board the plane rapid before the airport gets it. But then probably, I wouldn't even be surprised if there was something of, once they, I don't know, once they know, they must, I don't know. We're getting in the weeds. Let's carry on.
Who filmed the altercation's aftermath told Mail Online how the far-right activist allegedly shouted at the older man to come at me then, before he punched the old man so hard.
I wouldn't necessarily call him far right. I know most people do. I know left-wing people 100% would. But I wouldn't necessarily call him far right either. If you actually listen, like, I've watched podcasts with him. I even watched a podcast that he did. Like, his whole thing is Muslim grooming gangs, and I mean, the UK now is kind of accepting that that's a thing and that it's a problem, and the UK is furious about it too. That aside, I've seen there's a podcast of Tommy Robinson where he actually defended a Muslim man who was falsely accused of it. And yeah, he kind of, Tommy Robinson stood by him and kind of said, we have enough of this actually happening, that we don't need to put it on people that actually didn't do it. So to say like he's far right or he's racist, or I know they didn't say racist, but that's what the idea of far right is. But I've actually seen him sat with a Muslim accused of doing the thing that he is so anti, and that's his whole thing, is Muslim grooming gangs. Someone accused of a Muslim, and Tommy Robin was sitting there saying, I don't think he did it, I think the girl was lying, and this and this and this, and there's no evidence, all of that. So yeah.
He was knocked out. He had been on the way to catch a train when he heard a loud commotion and arguing at the top of the escalator. He said that as he approached the top, he saw Robinson and an older man facing off and standing very close to one another. The witness claimed that the alleged assault seemed very serious as the man wasn't moving afterwards. Since the footage emerged, Robinson reposted a tweet from a user which read, "If you approach someone with hostility, a man that receives death threats daily, expect to get a clip round the earhole." He also reposted a video from a US activist which claims there was 100% more video footage that vindicates Tommy, adding that the other man who was injured in the station...
Yeah, I actually agree with that, because they did say Tommy Robinson fled the UK, but he looked like he was going on holiday anyway. I do find it crazy that he was able to board. The man who suffered the injuries at the station during the altercation told Tommy he was intoxicated and was warned roughly 5 times by Tommy to leave him alone, but proceeded to aggressively rush him anyway. There's 100% more video footage that vindicates Tommy. Yeah, that's the other thing. We just see the unconscious guy. Where's the rest of the video? It's very, very important. When you see a video like this and it just starts, where's the altercation? The altercation and the fight, maybe the person didn't start filming, but the CCTV could come out of it. But yeah, you see the man unconscious, but you don't see how he ended up being unconscious. That video we've seen, just saw, doesn't actually, I mean, if you're going to use that as evidence, Tommy Robinson didn't see anything. But maybe because the altercation, no one would argue that Tommy was in the right. You have the right to defend yourself. Yeah.
Was intoxicated and warned 5 times to leave Tommy alone before proceeding to aggressively rush him. The agitated political activist could then be seen leaving down a staircase, while another man can be heard saying, "Quick, quick, can we get someone in here, quick," to staff. Another bystander could be heard shouting, "Tommy, Tommy," in the background. Robinson then comes back up the stairs and appears to tell the man, "He came at me, you saw that, he came at me," before the clip ends. Police say that a man was taken to hospital with serious injuries, although they were not believed to be life-threatening. Earlier on Monday, the former EDL leader had filmed himself at the station where he was handing out flyers for an upcoming protest. A police spokesperson said on
So he's
Tuesday
at a train
that detectives
station.
were continuing to work closely to progress the investigation and bring the suspect into custody for questioning.
That's the other thing as well, that with the left wing, at least the extreme left wing, you're not as tough as you think you are. And you've got to understand that, politics aside, Tommy Robinson is like a British lad. The truth is, if you go up to anybody too aggressive, chances are in the UK you're gonna either get knocked out or you're going to have to fight. No one's just gonna want, like, that never happened ever. Like, you don't just walk up to people and, yeah, especially when you're, like they said as well, Tommy Robinson is someone who does have death threats constantly. And yeah, he don't know what you got. He don't know what your intention is. If you're drunk, like, yeah, politics aside, don't do that. Don't go and rush people, no matter what you think of them. Don't go and rush someone unless you can actually have it, and your intention is to go and have it. The trouble is that, yeah, the left ain't tough like that. It's just not. It's, yeah. It isn't. The world isn't a safe space. But that way, you can't just go and get in someone's face, not expect something to happen. Yeah, and the way they was framing it on the thing. Also, he just said witnesses said that wasn't a witness interview. He said witnesses said this, witnesses said that, and even what they said, it wasn't even really that bad. Like I say, it's pretty common in the UK to get knocked out. That's like you saw them at the station. Do you know how many times a day? I won't say a day. Probably a day. No. Do you know how busy UK train stations are every day? You saw how slowly them people walked up. It's like they deal with it every day, and they're not. The guys go, "We need someone quick," and then two people stroll over like this again. Someone's knocked out again. Must be in Britain. But yeah, that's the reaction. Sweet.